weeks ago, I made the video about me moving on from the Helix. And as at that time, I still had the Helix here. And even though it was listed on Reverb, and it did sell a few days after that, and it's found a place, which tells you something about life. When you move on, it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone has moved on like you did. Let me explain. The 96 Helix is still an amazing tool, like I mentioned in my previous video. I'm not a fan of people making it look like it's an outdated piece of device. I don't think so. None of these other units out there can completely compete with the Helix, with the amount of features that the Helix offer, and can deliver at the rate at which the Helix has been able to deliver over the last few years. The Helix was, ahead of its time when it did come out, with the exception of the Fractal, which also is getting very frequent updates. Like, it comes out every other time. And I've been examining the facts and see how amazing this unit really is. And when people are talking about, quad cortex being the next big thing, it's not. That's, to be honest, it's just, it has a room for a lot of improvements, and we understand. And that's what they sold for us when the old QC noise and shenanigan came out to play. But how many of those promises has been fulfilled? Now, Helix didn't come with all these huge promises. They just delivered. Like, there was no hype, there was no pain of influencers to make noise about the piece of gear, something killer, that killer. The Helix is not dead. I understand everyone is moving on to other things. And if you look at the talking points, and this is not, I'm not a part of any, how will I explain this? There's no group anywhere, there's no group text anywhere. Respect to everybody that's, talking about this stuff and in this space. It's just a coincidence, at least for my own part. But the Helix is not really dead, and it's not going anywhere, and it's going to be around for the longest. Behind me is an 11 rack. I know up to 40 to 50 people that are still actively using and playing amazing sessions with this piece of gear. It might look outdated to a lot of people, it might feel outdated. I still know amazing studios that still have this unit, and they'll still run your guitar line through that amazing 11 rack. And this is pre-Helix, pre-QC, pre-Fractal, or some sort of similar timing. But I guess my point is, it's not fair to say, oh, the Helix is outdated and it's not useful anymore. We still get amazing tones from this piece of gear, and we will still continue to get amazing tones. Would it be something new coming out from that family? Maybe. I do not know. I'm not part of the insiders. But, so I want to make 4 points that are quite very important. If you have a Helix and it's working for you, you have no reason to let it go. I have a Helix that I've not taken out of my garage in 2 years. It has not been to any show with me, maybe 1 or 2 shows in the last 2-3 years. It made sense for me to move on at that point, because I wasn't getting as much value as I could get from that piece of gear. I was using my HX Stomp way more than any other piece of gear. I have 2 HX Stomps. Matter of fact, let me show you guys that right now. The first setup that I have with the HX Stomp is my flight rig, which I showed in the last video. It's got the GHS boost, which is overpriced now, and the jet pedal and volume pedal. That's all. The HX Stomp is the only powerhouse here. I just get some boost from these, and that's about it. Get some fets, like clean boost. And that's that rig. When I have gigs that I know what I'm playing, maybe a few sets, or I'm playing for an artist, or I have an acoustic session or something, it's easy for me to throw these in my bag and move on. So when people say the Helix is outdated, but it's the same architecture that you have in the Helix that you have in the HX Stomp. The only concern is if it doesn't fit your lifestyle. And I don't actually think that's actually something that makes sense. because most of these pedals that I'm seeing on everyone chain, or the pedal boards that I'm seeing with everybody, their gears, they're right about the same size with the Helix. So who the heck are we kidding? And my second pedal here, so this is my main pedal board right now. And for me to say I'm getting rid of a Helix because of size will actually be untrue, because this is right about the same size, if not bigger. By the time you put this in the case, it's probably gonna be bigger and heavier. Yeah, so getting the Helix though, it's not because of size, but more of a functionality and use case scenarios that I have. The kind of gig that I've been playing these days does not require that much tooling. And if I have something that is just sitting there and I'm not getting use out of, there's really no point. So I'm gearing towards using plugins more. That's one of my reasons, because the HX plugin, the Helix native plugin, it's the Helix on my computer. It sounds the same. My presets on the pedal sounds just as good as the one on the computer. So I really have no reason to keep the Helix around because of that Helix native architecture. And with the release of this guy, this could be my audio interface at any point in time. Plug my guitar here, send it to Helix native. I'll be making a video about that shortly. Maybe next week, I should drop a video about doing that. So my first point is people are not really dropping the Helix because of size. Number two, I'll call that the new gear syndrome. We just find something new and we just feel, oh, okay, this one is the best because it does one thing. For example, the head rush unit. How long did that last? Tone Master Pro. The space. If it's not practical, it's not gonna work for guitar players. And so far, the Helix has been very practical, still is practical, and still very useful in some case scenario. Some of us moved down to HX Stomp, HX XL, Stomp XL, whatever that one is called. And because of size factor, usability factor, or how much you need per time. I remember Steve's video made a lot of sense. There was a time the Helix was controlling his pedal, his guitar, his own tone, and the artist as well. So he will control his tone and the artists, and which is amazing. Tell me how many units can actually do that. So the Helix is getting more and more underutilized by people, and people are noticing that, and that's why people are moving on to newer things. That being said, it doesn't mean it's not a good piece of gear. It just means, times has always changed. There was a time AOL was the big thing. There was a time MySpace was the thing. And that's one thing about new technology. It's ever changing. There are new features that come out and people just want more. And that's a valid reason. Number three scenario that I want to take a look at is probably some people might know something about something coming. If you watch my last video, I actually mentioned that I don't know, but it just might be that something is coming. And so, third point. And the last point that I want to make, which is kind of funny, but still true anyway. There's actually a huge recession. A lot of people have bought a lot of gears they actually don't need during the pandemic, myself included. And people are just offloading a bunch of stuff that they have paid for. Let's face it. I have a friend with a studio who has over $20,000 in analog gear, and he's been offloading them on Reverb. And yeah, so that's one of the things that's actually really going on. There's an economic shift, and people need to let go of some gears to make better investments or to put money somewhere else. I'm not saying people are going through financial struggles. I'm just saying right now, if you have something in your arsenal that's not bringing you money, and or you bought it thinking you need it and then you don't, it's human to actually let go of it. We've seen this in 2008 with the last recession. So there is a huge dump on the market, and it's not just the Helix family. And I want us to look beyond that fact. There are so many gears that are showing up on Reverb that you wouldn't see at the price. I'm seeing a Fender Princeton for like $800, $900. I mean, that's a $1,500 guitar amp. I just bought a compressor for like, I don't know, less than $100. So people are letting go of gears that they have, acquired over the years because it doesn't make financial sense to just keep them around. So that might be another reason why people are letting go of their gears, not just the Helix. So just want to come out here and rant a little bit. And if you like my perspective, you can like and share this video, subscribe to the channel for more content. And until the next video, keep jamming. And the Helix is still king.